I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I invited George, Mike, and Iana. I found her Gmail address. So hopefully everybody will join us here shortly. Okay, there's, oh, yay.
Okay.
How we doing?
Pretty good here.
Good, good. Iana, I'm so glad we were able to make this connection.
I know, because my stuff was not accurate. I said, okay, it's going on.
I know, it can be so frustrating. So we do have it recording now, and
Okay.
let's go ahead and begin with introductions. My name is Cindy. I'm looking forward to doing this class. I do a lot of interviewing in my job, and so I'm really hoping to perfect my skills in that area. I will graduate next semester, well, next year actually, with a professional editing and writing degree. And I also work at the university, so it's a good thing for me.
All comes together.
Yes.
My
George,
name is George, journalism major here. I should be graduating spring of 2018, and I'm taking this class to hopefully help with my everything that you need to do to become a journalist.
That's exciting.
Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead. I'm Iana. I am a junior. I also work for the university in housing. I'll be graduating in December 2018 with a degree in journalism. Also.
I'm Michael Rosas. I'm a accounting major with a minor in communications. I got like a year and a half left at YSU.
Not bad.
So we need to discuss the topics, and it looks like Dr. Blundell put them all together in a list. And as we look at them, there was a couple that stood out to her. I'm wondering if you guys looked at that list or if there are certain things you feel really passionate about.
Honestly, I took a look at it. I'm trying to pull it up right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up too. Because I downloaded it. I was going to print it out, but I just ended up not printing it out. I was like, okay.
So, I mean, we had 5 people say like the roads and 5 people say the crime. Now, out of those 2, would either of those be enough to present a whole project on? I mean, like.
I don't know about the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree also.
I mean, it's a good topic, but I don't know what we could get from that.
So do you just want to eliminate the roads?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's certainly a part of what's frustrating in Youngstown, as well as that 680 speed trap.
Yeah.
But, I don't know that that's enough by itself.
So
Iana, you had mentioned the opioid addiction. What do you think about that topic?
I personally, I mean, I've done a lot of projects on drug abuse and drug addiction. So, I mean, it's a fairly, it's an easy project to like, plus it's a wide variety, but most people specify crack and cocaine and stuff like that, or heroin. It was either one of the 2. So, I mean, it's fairly easy. It's just some people can probably stray away from the main topic, which is like an issue, of course, like dealing with such a wide variety. But I mean, it's possible.
Well, Mike, you said that maybe it was too big. So if we decide on that, what specific issue will we target?
I just said like being so big, like as in you have, you know, the major problem around here is like the heroin epidemic.
Oh, I thought you meant as in, you know, too much of a wide variety of stuff to cover.
Having like I don't really know how to explain it.
Right.
But I think a good area that we could focus on would be like prescription drugs if we did a drug epidemic, just because, you know, there's a couple problems with like local doctors around here that are getting in trouble for it.
Oh, okay.
I think that might be difficult to nail down. I guess my thought on the opioid addiction problem was, how can the average person become more aware, and what can we do to help people pull themselves out of that before they end their life? I'm wondering how many of us know someone recently who has died from an overdose.
Or someone who, maybe is addicted right now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know of some. So.
And so many people, they struggle so much with it. They really want to get past it. They're not able to by themselves. And I just, I think about statewide too, the changes in Governor Kasich's budget and the way they're looking at this problem. And I'm concerned that they're pulling more money away from the treatment of it, rather, and they're looking at more of the source. But I don't really feel like the source is something that we can control and manage. But I think we can I would like to see us approach the treatment, the awareness of the main public, and can we advocate for that?
Right.
So do you feel like we could base a survey off of this problem?
Well, I think about it a second. So I'm just thinking, just kind of spitballing in my head. I mean, you could start out with, do you personally, do you take prescription drugs on a regular basis, or do you find that every weekend you look forward to getting high, or do you have friends who, that's what they look forward to every weekend? Or do you have a friend that you're concerned about their abuse? It could be drugs or alcohol, but I think drugs is the big issue that we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of move towards, are you aware, or to what extent do you agree or disagree with Kasich's, stance on blah, blah, blah. And then you could move to what would you be in favor of, or kind of Likert scale questions on kinds of changes or ways to address those issues and to increase quality treatment. Those are just my thoughts, but I'm really open. I mean, I'm not even like married to that topic, but
yeah, I mean, those are all like good points with it. I feel like out of the whole list that was constructed, either doing the drug epidemic or like getting businesses into Youngstown, I feel would probably be like the two best, just because a lot of businesses are getting driven out.
What's interesting is that the Youngstown Incubator is one of the strongest, most productive incubators in the country, and yet we don't have businesses. Deanna, what do you think? Which topic do you lean towards?
I think both of them are actually really good, and I also do agree with how like businesses are getting driven out of Youngstown also, because I know I was just talking to my friend who works in housing with me, and I guess she did a project on like the businesses and how like pretty much Youngstown is becoming more I forget the word she used. I want to say she said it's like more not consumer based, but like pretty much like people are losing jobs, but then there's also like how some people need manual labor, but there's not enough people to do it because they didn't go to trade school and stuff like that. So I really, I mean, I feel like they're both good, like very good ideas, and you can go far with both of them. So I'm really up for whichever.
Okay, George, what about you? Is there another topic that you like better?
I like all of them, but I don't know what resources we can find online to, really bring everything together. So once we decide on the topic, I'm not sure what we should find online to help us out with that.
Well, another topic that 3 people put down were the public school system. And I'm not sure how you kind of kept abreast of that, but Youngstown City Schools is in some major trouble right now.
Okay. Yeah. I actually put that in mine because I do know. Well, I'm not from Youngstown. I'm actually from Columbus. So like the public school system is not as bad as it is here. But I know, like for instance, they have money. They have a lot of money to spend, but they'll rather spend it on like statues of people who like are past presidents and stuff like that, and not school books. And then when you don't have school books, you don't really get a good education. You don't get a good education. You don't graduate. You don't graduate. You know, you really don't get far, and then you're stuck in Youngstown. And that's how a lot of people is for generations. So that was just my perspective on how I felt about it, because I was one of the people who put it on my paper.
George, did you put it down?
Yeah, I put the school issue. I think the last time they got that so-called report card, they were still in really bad condition. And with this new CEO, I wonder what's going on with that, if he makes any improvement. But yeah, that was one of my issues I put down.
Okay. And Mike, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, that could be a big one. I personally work at a group home, so all of our kids attend Youngstown City Schools. I mean, that could be a good background on it. I don't know.
I feel like that's something that we could really get behind, and we could get some good research on.
Right.
You know, the whole idea, even the reputation and the history of Mohip, the CEO, where he came from, what he accomplished there, what he brought it from and to. I would like to know more about personally. And then, you know, the whole idea of going into this new school year, because I do work in the College of Education at the university, I hear a lot about what's going on in the schools, and there's just a major overhaul. I've been told that majority of the buildings will all have brand new principals, new administrators. There's going to be an entire shakeup. I know that they're trying to change some of that hierarchy and control so that they can actually make the changes that they want to make. So I just think this would be a very interesting topic to go with.
I was gonna say, I had to go to a meeting at the beginning of last school year for like Youngstown schools, and I guess their number one problem is getting kids to actually go to the schools.
Yeah.
So it's not
I remember hearing.
like attendance is their biggest concern. So,
So how do you guys feel about adopting this as a project, and then we can work from here and come up with ideas that we could each take ownership of and do research on?
yeah,
I felt pretty comfortable.
George, what do you think?
Works for me.
Okay, so as I looked at the whole assignment, this is what I was kind of thinking. If we go ahead and adopt this, and we can kind of break this up into 6 parts, because there's supposed to be 6 people on this project, and then each person would research that area and would come up with questions for the interview guide, and also then translate those into survey questions. Then when we finish the survey and we're doing the PowerPoint presentation, that would be your area to do your 3 to 4 minute presentation on. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mike, you said attendance. That's a big problem.
Yep.
What's another problem that Ayana you thought about?
That they spend funding more so on sports and not academics.
Okay. George?
What about, I don't know if this will really fit in, but we see, I mean, this has happened a few times with the kids fight with the teachers. Do you think that's, I mean, how do we handle that? Is that worth mentioning, or?
Oh, it definitely is. If you've looked at all the reports from East High School, it's
Right, East
like
High
a
School.
war zone. It literally is like a war zone. It's unsafe
Yeah.
to be there.
It's
So
dangerous, yeah.
that discipline and that control in the classroom is key. So Ayana, you're saying funding versus academics, but I almost feel like the funding of athletics is separate. I feel like the academic piece has to be somewhere in here in one of these 6 pieces. So I'm going to throw academics down by itself. We could put athletic, or we could put budget. What if we
Budget
did,
spending?
I'm sorry?
Like budget spending?
Yeah.
Okay. I know a lot of a similar thing that used to happen back home at like in Columbus with school system. Well, with our school system was what was I about? See, I done lost my train of thought. Hold on.
It'll come back to you.
It is. What was I about to say? School funding. Oh, when okay, so I don't know if you guys do that out here, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh, we lost you, Ayana.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, hopefully she'll come back. So I have down attendance, budget spending, discipline, academics, and then special education and Title I support is kind of a big deal. So many of our students in Youngstown City Schools qualify as a Title I or a special education student. And that allows the public schools to access federal funding to, help their budget out and help them accomplish what they need to accomplish. And I don't know how well they're using those resources or accessing that. That might come under budget spending, I'm not sure, but I think that's a piece we should talk about. What else do you guys think is important?
I'm sorry, I was trying to say my computer had went to sleep. Another issue that we used to have back home, which I'm pretty sure could possibly be an issue here, is so for instance, like with free and reduced lunch, the way that they calculate when people get that is like very one-sided sometimes. So parents who often make a decent amount of money, even though they have multiple kids, they still can't afford to give their children like food and stuff like that. So if they have to pay full price, they can't afford it because it's like a large amount every day. So it actually racks up. So like students end up not eating, and then especially if they're like in like younger grades, like middle school and stuff like that, or elementary, like that's usually sometimes their only meal to eat.
Yes.
So then that alters like their behavior patterns. So I also know that.
You're very right. How about after school programming? Tutoring, that kind of thing? I know that there are grants that provide funding for after school programming.
Yeah, that's nice.
I hesitate to, I will say this to you guys, but I don't think it's something we should put in our report. The union, the teacher union in Youngstown City is a very strong, stubborn union, and it has tripped plans and the purposes of the school board over the years. I don't know. I see that as a huge hindrance.
Right.
But I don't think that's anything that we can speak to or change. I have a feeling that the reason MOHIP is doing this, round robin and moving everybody is because he can do that. He can't fire people because, they're in the union, and until they've done this and this, he can't fire them. So he has to keep them. He's going to move their cheese, make them uncomfortable, put them in a place where they don't want to be. And I think he's kind of hoping maybe some of them will drop out or they'll get their act together. But I don't know how to incorporate that into this research, but I think it's a huge piece to what's going on in Youngstown City.
That sounds, yeah.
I was gonna say, I think another issue that they were changing around was people are gonna go start attending schools that are near them.
Yes.
I know Youngstown's set up like they can go to any school, but I guess they're changing that so it's area based again.
Mike, what do they call that? I know there's a name for it.
I don't know.
It must be enrollment, maybe by region or
by the location or something.
Yeah, okay. And so, George, I know you did some research on this problem about the report card.
Right.
The report card, it doesn't just speak to academics. It does speak to attendance, and it does speak to other areas. So I'm thinking that looking at the report card is something that's going to help all of us get a better grip on what the problems are. And maybe that will help drive the outline that we're going to create, and then our survey and our presentation.
Could maybe even compare other areas around here, like their report
You
cards.
could even see what we're really low in, and then we could go from there and say, wow, I can't believe our test scores are, bottom of the barrel, or our attendance is the worst in the state, or whatever those numbers are. So we could look at that and then kind of go from there.
Okay.
So just looking forward a little bit. So as we create this interview guide, it's supposed to kind of be based off that chapter 6 that we just did, talking about how to build questions and how to keep a consistency that it can be accurately given. And then we take those interview guides and we form it into this survey, which is only supposed to be an opening and 20 questions. So that's not really too many to work with.
Right.
And once we get that established and we're happy with it, then we only need to submit that to like 20, 25 people, which is nice. So I was thinking, well, there's 6 of us. If we each did, 4 or 5 surveys, it gave them to 4 or 5 individuals, we would meet our quota. Does that sound doable to everybody?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, right now I have a blown out knee, so I can't really walk.
Okay.
but,
Well, you can do a video chat to do your
Yeah.
surveys if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm sure I could get it done just even through people from work. So
Okay. Great. So the interview guide and the survey have to be completed by next Sunday. Tonight, we are supposed to upload our research items for the topic.
And we all need 3 sources each.
We all need 3 sources each, correct? And we're supposed to just upload those into the file exchange on Blackboard and get that for Dr. Blundell to see. And then what I'm looking at is once we get the survey approved by her, then from June 11th to June 15th would be our target date to administer the surveys. And the reason I say June 15th is that everything has to be coded and tabulated by the 18th. That's going to be a job.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone is excited about that, likes to do research, likes to code and tabulate. I will be glad to do it, but I want to give you guys options to step in and do that too.
I mean, I'll pretty much do whatever I have to do, but I mean, I'm real crammed. I took too many summer classes.
Okay.
Same. But yeah, if there's anything that needs to be done, like I would definitely do it. And it's not hard. I want to say, like per se, it's not hard to do.
Do you think that we could?
It's just time consuming, if that makes sense. Like
it is time consuming, and I feel like once we come up with the survey guide, I think we can kind of come up with like 6 choices for those open-ended questions that we could categorize, and we could kind of slot the answers that from the surveys that we administer, so that when we send it all in on the 15th, it won't be so difficult to tabulate and code.
So should we just start with the guide first, step by step?
Correct.
Sort of bring that out right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we really
should we go over?
create the guide until we know exactly what the areas are that we're going to look at. Now, what I wrote down here are attendance, budget spending, discipline, academics, special education, Title I, free reduced lunches, after school programming, and the enrollment by region. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. So we could either change these all together or we could combine a couple. I feel like we could pull the free reduced lunch into the budget spending. And I'm thinking Attendance needs to stand by its own. Discipline should stand by its own. Academics should stand by its own. I think that Mike hit on a key point about the enrollment by region, so that should really stand by its own. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what if we just put the academic portion? I don't know, special ed Title I. I think for right now, I'm just gonna table that and see where it might fit into.
I guess I'd say, like, just from what I could see with Youngstown City Schools, not really even city, like they have schools, like I don't know if you know what PACES is.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't that focus just on that topic? You know, it's a school just for the special ed pretty much.
Well, they do and they don't. You'll find in every elementary, middle, high school, there are students that have IEPs that are considered a special education student. Some require additional classes, separate classes, which cost obviously the district more money to hire teachers to teach those classes.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they have Summit Academy on the south side.
Right?
So
Summit Academy is a charter school, so it is not part of Youngstown City.
all right. Is PACES part of Youngstown?
What is it again?
Is PACES?
No, it would be a separate, yeah, that would be a separate charter school. There are many charter schools in the area of Youngstown. Maybe that should be one of our topics as well, because they have taken a lot of students out of Youngstown City Schools because parents have been so frustrated with the lack of education the students are receiving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know any besides those two and like the Mahoney Valley High School.
Okay. Well, of those topics, if all four of us took one that we feel strongly about, we could start there. So George, which one do you feel strongly about?
I could try what I said, the discipline, again, how we see these issues between the teachers and the students.
That is huge. And that is so key, because if they can get the discipline in place, students can learn in the classrooms. So that's key. Iana, you want to do the budget spending and the reduced lunch piece?
Yeah, that's very nice.
Okay. And then Mike, which one do you feel? Do you want to do the enrollment by the region?
Yeah, I could do that one.
Do some studying about that? Okay. And then I'd like to take a real hard look at the academics, because I feel like that is so very important. We, at the university, when we have students come to YSU, if they come from Youngstown City Schools, they pretty much all have to have remedial coursework before they're able to be at the college level that they need to be. So that extends their college debt, it extends their time in college, it also frustrates and discourages them, and it you know, plays a key role in their future success.
Does Youngstown City Schools have open enrollment?
Youngstown City has open enrollment, yeah. One of the programs that I'd like to also talk a little bit about is Youngstown Early College. That's a great program that YSU has partnered with the city schools. So students, if they show an effort and they apply for the program, they can actually come to YSU for 2 years while they're in high school, finish their high school, and they've also got 2 years of college done. And then it only leaves them with 2 years of college to finish. So it's an awesome program, and some of the students are really, really great. So I don't know how much that's even talked about or offered, but I think that would be a key piece to talk about too.
Is that by itself, or is that grouped in with academics? Or
Well, I don't know what to do about the other people that are not, like, I know the one girl is sick, but the other person, Mike Pascarella, is it? I haven't heard anything from him.
I don't know if he had problems like with scheduling that he wasn't able to.
You're right. I think he said he had to work or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think we should assign him attendance?
I guess, I mean, to the point, it's either him or Themi.
Yeah, I think Um, right now we have the after-school program and attendance not spoken for.
Mm.
So I'll shoot them an email and I'll ask them to pick which one they'd like to do. And then if we could all upload our research tonight to the file exchange, and then from there begin to work on the interview guide on our topic.
Sounds good to me.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like the continuity, you know, like, so what you really enjoy and what you're working on, you're researching, you're doing the interview guide, you're doing the interview survey piece, and then you're going to present on for the PowerPoint. So something that you kind of, you're invested in and you know pretty well.
Sounds good.
I think so too.
Did you guys all finish that informational interview?
I did. Did you?
I did the interview. I'm like piecing it together. What was I, like your interview guide? Isn't that like the same as like the question guide?
It is.
So
And then she wanted you to know what questions you asked that were not in the guide,
yep.
and maybe what questions you didn't ask that were in the guide.
All right. So yeah, I just gotta finish that up real quick.
One more thing I wanted to ask. We're supposed to select an audience for this survey. So do you guys want to speak to that? Like, who do you feel that we need to target for these surveys once we get them prepared?
Say like parents of
Yeah, let's say
children
parents.
in the school system, or even like parents or teachers.
Okay.
Like I work with a few teachers from Youngstown City.
So either the parent of a child in Youngstown City or a teacher in Youngstown City.
Well, I guess we could. You want to expand that to like parents that also have children in the charter academies?
You're reading my mind, Mike. It's exactly what I was thinking. Because I feel like it's only fair to hear from them why they've gone the way they have.
Yeah.
George, what do you think?
I think that's a good idea, but how, like someone with me, how would I get to these people to do that?
It's a good
'Cause
question.
I don't know anybody who goes to Youngstown City, anyone who works there. I mean, how should I approach that?
Well, I
Think
know
about-
Mike has some connections.
I was gonna say they start summer program June 11th, maybe, or no, June 12th. Maybe like contacting through a school or something.
Well, we have from the 11th to the 15th to conduct the surveys. I think it may be difficult to limit this to parents of children in Youngstown City schools.
What would
Would
What if we-
Youngstown residents in
What if we
general?
expand it to individuals who have worked in the Youngstown City schools? So, for instance, whether they've gone in as a tutor or a counselor or something of that nature. Because I could get access to a list of individuals who have gone in and helped with reading and have gone in as a school counselor and have gone in to, you know, do a variety of things. Would that work?
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I have a couple connections that maybe like they could expand upon. I mean, I have one guy that he's a teacher at East. He could probably get a few other teachers as well.
Yeah, and the difficult part about this assignment, I think, is that we're supposed to meet them person to person, face to face, to do these surveys. I think that's going to be tough, especially with only 3 days to do it.
Yeah.
So I think a video chat would be the easiest way for us to conduct it, honestly. So, Mike, do you think you could find out if you could get some contacts that would be open to that? Because we're going to each need to have 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, I could try getting a hold of. Well, I can get a hold of the guy now, see if he might have like an email list or something else.
Okay.
And we could start, at least trying to get contact.
I'm just afraid this is where this project's going to break down. George, do you have any thoughts on that? Another way to maybe approach this?
None whatsoever at the moment.
I may be able to get some contacts also, considering I do work in housing and I have direct like contact with people's parents and stuff like that. Well, not even parents, but just like the people I work with also, like my supervisors that I'm like very close with are also parents of people who like are in Youngstown City Schools, and they like to talk. So I can definitely talk to them, and like other people who like work like around the university, and the ones who actually work with like YEC, which is Youngstown Early College. Could probably talk to them also since they're in that program.
Well, that would be ideal, Ayana, especially the YEC group, because they're the ones that are going to have the answers.
Yeah.
I think that we should try to not be so limiting, but we should target individuals who have experience in the Youngstown City Schools, whether they were a teacher, they were a tutor, they were a student, they're a parent of a child there. They have some kind of interaction and real experience with Youngstown City Schools. They're going to give us the best answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely look around, and I can start doing that. What's today? Sunday. I can definitely start doing that starting tomorrow, because like I'm in the office.
Right. Because I feel like this next week, we have to put this interview guide and survey together, but I think we also need to be looking for possibilities of people that we can interview.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I've got a couple in my mind right now that I can pull on, but I think George is going to need some people that he can draw from. Mike, you've got a few. Ayana, you seem to have a few contacts, but we need to help George and possibly the other 2 people as well.
Sounds good. I'll look into what I could, what I could get out of it.
So, Mike and Ayana, if you could do a group email and let us know what you come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And then that'll help George. And then George, if anything else pops in your head, let us know.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool.
Did you guys want to try to plan another day to meet? Or,
Are we required to do another video chat?
I don't know if we have to record it, but I mean, it would probably be easier just to be in contact.
Okay. What is like next Saturday like? Maybe we could pull together our interview guide and our survey and talk about it.
I mean, I'm pretty much open any day this week. I work midnights this week.
Okay, George, what about you?
I'm available like starting 3 pretty much every day.
Okay, Ayana?
On Mondays I'm free. Like I work, but since I'm an RA, I really don't do nothing. I just sit in my room and I'm on call. But on Tuesdays, from 2 until 4, I'm not available because I do like staff meetings and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm not doing that.
Towards the end of the week, could we maybe do like next Thursday, like 6 o'clock?
I'm good for that.
That's fine.
Okay. So Thursday at 6 o'clock, we'll do another recorded video chat. I'll start it and I'll invite you guys. And then we'll try to come prepared with interview guide ideas and survey questions.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Just before we go, I mean, should I just go out somewhere in Youngstown and say, are you a parent of a kid in Youngstown City Schools? And I mean, will that work? Just scout out people, or?
If you are comfortable going door to door during the day, we could give you areas that you could go to do that. I don't know if you want to do that or not. That could bring.
If I don't have any other options.
If you don't have anything else, yeah. I feel like we're going to be able to come up with a pool of people that have either worked, in the schools or are familiar with the schools close enough that you don't have to knock on doors, but it's up to you.
George, I'd say I wouldn't, recommend that. I'd say like
No.
maybe try even going to like parks or something like Mill Creek Park. There's always people down there. See if their kids are involved in Youngstown City.
Okay, but you said summer school starts June 12th. I mean, could I like go out to the parking lot and find parents if they're there, or would that be
That's a
beneficial?
great idea, actually. Yeah.
But where is that being held?
I believe it is at East this year. I believe. I mean, Cindy, if you know anything more about that.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know if you're with your connections, you can find out where summer school is held. I'm not sure. Whatever we find out,
Maybe
let's
it's
put it
posted
in
online.
an email so we have it this week. So if we can just share that in a group email, whatever we find out, that'll help us all kind of getting on the right path.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
So Thursday at 6 o'clock is the next time.
Yes, and we'll come prepared with interview guide questions and then potential survey questions.
And are we just working on our individual category, or should we
Yes.
come up with questions? Okay.
Just on our individual category, and then if we all come
Okay.
together, we'll probably have more than enough, and we'll be able to pick the best ones. And just keep in mind, we need to try to keep this as accurate, so as routine as possible, so that as we get answers, that they're easy to code and tabulate. So they can't all
Okay.
be wide open-ended questions. A Likert scale is a better choice, a ranking schedule, something like that, that will help us to put these results together in a usable format. We'll need that for our presentation too.
So, okay, just come up with a guide for our specific category and come up with questions for our specific category for Thursday
Yes.
at 6.
Yes.
Okay, that
And when
works.
you're administering the survey, you'll have the complete survey. The survey
Right.
will compose all the areas. Right now, we're just going to work on our section.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Yeah.